Hello. So once again, just another random, spontaneous video. Talking about this aliveness that just is. I've noticed recently there's been thoughts arising here about the difference between what actually is, so what's actually happening, versus what you think is happening. And it's so fascinating. I know it sounds weird, this, but it's kind of like there's two worlds going on at the same time. But one of them's real and one of them's an illusion. It's like if you look around right now, nothing's actually happening. Because there's no time. Now, what you think is happening, well, there's probably a lot of things happening. You think there's a lot of things happening. But that assumes that time is here, and time is not here. Everything you think is happening requires the illusion of time. I'm on the peppermint tea today. This body seems to have been on a bit of a health kick lately, and for some reason there's been a reduction in caffeine or coffee intake, so I just have 1 or 2 coffees a day now. So if you've had a clear seeing of what's being shared here, there is no self, so there's no doer inside your body. And when that's seen clearly, it's realised that there is no doer anywhere. There's one doer, and it's this one unknown aliveness. So there is no separation from this one. That's actually what's happening. If you look in direct experience, there's an experience here that's happening. Well, you can't even call it, I mean, even the word experience is just a made-up word, but there's just something here, this aliveness, this unknown presence, this existence, and this is all there is. Like, there really isn't anything else. But the illusion of separation seems to appear within this one. It's incredible. How it can appear as billions of lives, billions of different people, trillions and trillions of stories. The imagination is so powerful. But it's just that, it's just an imagination, it's just a story, it's an illusion, it's a dream. I've mentioned on other videos so many times that the illusion of continuity, the illusion of time seems to be, well, I mean, here anyway, seems to be the most powerful illusion or trick, because there is only this that's appearing right now. And there's no you. So there's just this, whatever this is, and there's no you, and there's no other. You know, and this is not a belief, you know, I'm not like making this up or creating a philosophy, it's just a fact. But it just seems really rare that, well, it just seems so few people come to this realization. So when I say, you know, there is no time, it's really, really, it's really obvious. I mean, any memory or any thought of the past, can that be experienced anywhere other than now in this timeless aliveness? That just eliminates the past straight away. The past is literally just it doesn't exist. It never, it's not there. There's only this. And it's the same with the future. I mean, the future is even easier to debunk, because this is, well, the me character, the self that lives in time, it would seem that it believes that the past is more real than the future, because it actually really feels like the past happened, because it has memories. But a memory is just a brand new appearance that arises now in this aliveness. It's incredible how this, whatever this is, can pull off such an illusion. It's like we've all been tricked. Innocently, because there's no one doing this, there's no one doing any of this. You know, I in the story here, you know, I went down all the rabbit holes, and it wasn't enjoyable because of the corruption and the greed and the evil, and you know, all these conspiracy theories, which are fascinating. But any story of corruption has no doer behind it. The only doer is this timeless aliveness. And equally, any story of a communion or a community of love or act of kindness has no doer behind it, other than this one unknown existence, this timeless aliveness. So there's no one doing anything. No one's ever done anything. You can't do anything. That's the illusion. That's the dream. And you know, if that is seen, or felt energetically, then there's a relief and a relaxation from seeking. You see, seeking assumes that there's something missing from what is. But you can't add anything to what is, or you can't even take anything away from what is. It's just what is. I must admit though, you know, if you do look around, you know, society, you know, if you look at families, communities, your mum, your dad, your brother, sister, your children, your husband, your wife, your work colleagues, your friends, you know, what's being shared here is, it can be seen as a liberating, beautiful message, but also a brutal, horrific, devastating message. And it's no wonder that few people go all the way to see through the illusion. Not that you can choose to do that or not. Because if it's seen clearly, then it's the death, it's the end of relationship. You know, at an absolute level, of course, relatively, relationships will continue with no doers. because there is no doer, there's no self. There's no one running this show other than this one timeless existence. So to accept this message, not that there is anyone that can accept it or not accept it, but to see what's being shared here clearly, it would seem a huge sacrifice to you. Well, you're giving up everything, basically. There's nothing to gain from what's being shared here. I call it the final truth. I was seeking truth for decades in every area. I think I mentioned on my previous videos the extreme seeking here, down all the conspiracy theory rabbit holes and spiritual traditions, religions, but in personal life as well. Just seeking money and success and better things, material things, and I don't know. I can only say through exhaustion, maybe. It was a series of glimpses or awakenings that seemed to open up this realization. I forgot where I was going with that now. So there's only ever this. So, and there's no self. So the seeker is an illusion. And the seeking is an illusion. There is no seeker. And there's nothing to be sought. And that's not to say you should sit down all day and do nothing. Again, there's no one that can choose to do that. Desires can still arise, or you might want things. You might want to book a cruise. You might want to go on a family holiday, or you might want to book a Caribbean cruise or a Mediterranean cruise. And there's nothing right with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But that would also be an appearance arising now in this. You can't choose to book that cruise. You can't choose if you're going to end up going on the cruise or not. There's a show being played here. Your character's being played, but not by you. Now, is that scary, or is that a liberation? Here it's a liberation. I don't know why. It just feels... I think it's wonderful when it's seeing clearly how everything is happening by itself. I watch my next door neighbours moving around, and my friends and family doing things, and stuff going on at work, and I watch my own body moving, and when it's realised that there's no one doing anything and it's all like a magical, choreographed masterpiece with no errors, this doesn't make a mistake. To you it will seem like there's lots of mistakes. because you want it to be another way, or you think there's something else. No wonder there's suffering. You know, there's all these, I mean, the demands from society now, it would seem, to have things, to get things, to acquire things, to... And it's actually not down to you whether them things happen or not. So when they don't happen, it causes suffering. But you don't need anything. You'll get what you're given. I mean, that can cause people to react or get triggered by this message, because it would seem that, again, these are stories, relatively, there's people living affluent, luxurious, millionaire lifestyles, and those that are in poverty. But there's no doer. There's no one choosing to do any of that. That's what it causes triggering, because if you're identified with a me character, you say, well, you know, how dare you? You know, how dare you say that? You know, things can be done to improve people's lives, or their millionaires should be giving all their money to other people, but there's no one that can choose to do that or not. You know, there isn't. I mean, you know, if you look at the body, if you look at your body, you know, it all functions and happens by itself. You know, breathing happens by itself, blinking of the eyes. Blood pumping around the body. Coughing, sneezing, talking, walking. You know, all these things happen, and then immediately after, it would seem, I don't know how long after, but the me character claims ownership. You know, I did that, you know, I've just sneezed. But you can't choose to sneeze or not to sneeze. Or should we have a cup of tea? Did you really choose that thought? Or did the thought just arise? And then as you were walking to the kettle, you thought, do you know what, I'm going to have a coffee instead? Did you really choose that last minute decision to change? You're actually being done by this. You're like you're a puppet. I don't like using that word, but it's like an empty puppet show. You're being moved by this unknown aliveness, as is everything, as is the wind. Tree, you know, leaves blowing in the wind. Animals moving around, birds in the sky. The waves of the ocean. Clouds passing in the sky. It's the same, all the same. So I mentioned it in a lot of my previous videos. The two things I tend to talk about are, you know, what this is. You know, there's no answer to it. No one knows what this is. And that there is no self. But I think probably one of the main things that's being shared is that this is the end of the seeker. This is the end of the search. Like, there really is only this aliveness that's appearing right now. So whatever seems to be happening, there's nothing other than this. Because anything other than this, I mean, where is it? Where would that be? It can only be an imagined story appearing now in this. It can just be a thought or an idea. It's just an imagination. It is weird though. I mean, you know, there's an aliveness here, there's an awareness here. And it's got no age, it's got no gender, it's got no role. That's what I mean. So, I mean, here, you know, I'm a 42-year-old man, and have an insurance business. That's not actually, so going back to the start of the video, you know, what's actually happening versus what you think is happening. You know, there's an awareness here, this unknown existence. It's got nothing to do with you. Like, there is no you. So what you think is happening. So, I mean, here, you know, I could say that, you know, I'm a 42-year-old man and have an insurance business, have a wife and 2 boys. You know, that's what I think is happening. So the Gavin Brooks character thinks that is happening, which is okay. I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong with it, excuse me. But what's actually happening is this. This is the truth right here. So everything I've just said there is not actually the truth. It's just a thought arising now in the truth. So the truth is here, this isness, this aliveness. But this unknown existence doesn't have a name. It doesn't have an age or a gender. It doesn't have a role. It doesn't notice any of that. Yet it can appear as all them things. That's what I mean. It's incredible, like I said at the beginning of this video, how it can pull off such an illusion. It's fascinating. It's miraculous. And when it's seen clearly, I mean, you know, I don't know how many people, you know, genuinely have had a clear seeing of this, but, you know, I can't stop thinking about it or talking about it. I think it's wonderful. It can't be unseen. But also, and this is the weird part, you can't actually escape. You can't escape this. But interestingly, it seems here anyway that you can't even escape the imagined character. So the story, as I said, this one is the doer. You're not the doer. And this one wants to play you as a character and other characters. And you've got no control of when the thoughts arise or when the thoughts don't arise of that me character. But I can only explain it in a way that, you know, if it has been seen energetically, the belief in that me character and the stories and others, of all stories really, is it's not really believed anymore as it was before the clear seeing. So most people really believe their story happened and that they are, I don't know, a 25-year-old girl or a 64-year-old man. Don't know if this is making sense. Do you know, sometimes I often think, you know, if someone watches these videos that's got no idea about sort of non-duality or no self-realization, they must think I'm mad, which is okay. That's just what's happening. But it's just really obvious. It's ridiculously obvious that there's no doer. So the thoughts of the me character. So that's what I mean. A memory might arise here of something that I did in my story 25 years ago. But where did that memory come from? Who chose that memory to arise? So let's say later on today, or even yesterday, you had a memory of you being a 10-year-old girl or boy. It just flashed up, a memory popped up. You can't choose which memory to arise. Because there is no you, there's no doer. You can't choose your next thought. And you know, this is the thing, the me character, if you're identified with that self, you just cannot accept this message. I've had so many people comment on my videos, and in particular the shorts that I've uploaded. Particularly when I say you can't choose your next thought. But it's really obvious you cannot choose your next thought. How could you choose your next thought? Because even once the thought arises and then you claim that, yes, I chose that thought, but that's late. You've said that after the thought arose. It's ridiculously obvious that you cannot choose your thoughts. So if you can't choose your thoughts, no one else is choosing their thoughts. No one's doing anything else. No one's doing anything. And that's what I mean. It can be a terrifying message or a liberating message. I mean, to be honest, they're both stories anyway. I mean, it's just what is. There's, you know, the story of it being a terrifying message or the story of it being a liberating message. It's not even either of them. It's just what is. It's just what's happening. And then there's the feelings. So the emotions or feelings. And again, we've through language, through words, we've created a language for these feelings as well. So if a feeling arises that's uncomfortable, I mean, even uncomfortable is just a made-up word, but if a feeling arises that's uncomfortable, we may label that as grief, sadness, guilt, shame, whatever, all these negative, and then equally, a feeling of pure bliss and joy may sweep over the body. It doesn't even sweep over the body, it just appears in this. That's what I mean, the body is just an appearance within this also. So in the past, before I had a clear seeing of this, if I had a feeling of pure joy and happiness, I would claim that to be mine in the body. And equally, if a feeling of sadness, grief, depression, whatever happened, I would claim that in the body. I would embody it to be mine. But now it's just, if a feeling arises, it's just, oh, okay, that's an uncomfortable feeling. Or, oh, that feels nice. That's a really nice, peaceful, happy feeling. But it doesn't really happen in the body or to me anymore. It's just in this. So it's this. The feeling belongs to this. It's not your feeling. Nothing belongs to you. Nothing belongs to anyone. There's no one here. But the stories still kind of arise, That's what I'm saying. It's a mystery. And yes, there's these like gurus of the past, in particular the ancient Indian gurus, and I don't know what kind of happened with them, because of course it's all just stories. But when I hear of stories of being in permanent states of bliss, or sitting in a state of no mind for 3 days, and I can't help but think that's a load of bullshit. Now, I'm not saying that that's not happened, but who could choose to sit in silence for 3 days and not have a single thought arise? There's no doer, there's no you to choose when a thought arises or not. It belongs to this. This is running the show, not you. And it's the same with the feeling. So I don't know about you, but certainly here it's impossible to maintain a blissful feeling, and it's impossible to maintain a depressed feeling, or try and get rid of a depressed feeling. That's what the me character does. It tries to get rid of the depressed feeling, and it tries to hold on or keep hold of or maintain the happy feeling, because it feels like it belongs to you. And when it's seen that there is no you and it's just this, then the feeling's allowed to be. It's weird, because there's no one that could even allow it to be or not, but it's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You can't choose when that happy feeling begins or ends. You can't choose when that depressed feeling begins or ends. It's like a paradox, because that even assumes that there's time, that there's a beginning and an ending of a happy or depressed feeling. That's what I mean. There's so many paradoxes and mysteries that kind of uncover themselves. So the self, or the me character, or the ego, whatever you want to call it, it's, I don't know, it's just like a survival mechanism. It just wants to stay alive. It's not even, it's not even there. It's an illusion. But for whatever reason, this unknown existence seems to want it to continue in a story in time. It's all an illusion. So going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, what's actually here versus what you think is happening. What's actually here is this stillness, this unmoved silence. But it seems to want to play out the game of form, the game of movement and sound and continuity of time and space, distance, all of which are illusory, just imagined. What's been interesting here, trauma. So if you think about something that was traumatic in the past, in the story here, I had quite a traumatic childhood, a bit of a rubbish upbringing. And that trauma, what's been noticed here is since this realization, the trauma seems more real in the body, in the nervous system, than in thought. It's really hard to explain this. So if it's undeniable that this is all there is, then any traumatic stories of the past, they lose all their realness. But for some reason, the body and the nervous system seems to hold on to it more than the imagined story. But once it's been seen clearly that this is all there is, and that any thoughts of the past are literally just appearances that arise now within this, then there's a lightness, there's an ease, and a relaxation to that trauma or that story. But I've noticed that the body holds on to the trauma in the nervous system. I don't know if that's right to say that. And that took a lot longer to relax. So the body took longer to relax than the thoughts. The thoughts are just nothing. It's so obvious now that thoughts, they're nothing. I know it's. Don't get me wrong. Occasionally here, I could be sat here, and a little shitstorm of thoughts can start flying around. You think, well, why is that? Why are them thoughts happening? Again, there's no doer. It's just this appearing as them thoughts. So the belief, when it's realised that there is no doer and this is all there is, the belief in the thoughts is just collapse. It just collapses. The stories collapse. But But the nervous system seems a bit different. The body seems different. I can't explain that actually. I might have to come back to that on another video. Because, I mean, here, there's a powerlessness to the body. The body is the body is the body just does its thing. You can't do anything about it. Now it seems that you can actually see through the illusion or see through the thoughts easier here than dealing with the bodily sensations or the nervous system. I mean, there's no doer, but I suppose techniques, this goes against everything I talk about really, but I suppose techniques to help relax the body, and if that happens, then that's just what's happening. There's no doer to choose or not to choose or not to do that or not, So that's really, there's no when I say, this is all there is and you don't have to do anything and there's nothing you need to do, there's no one that can choose to do something or not choose to do something. But there's no I'm not denying that therapy can help with trauma, or techniques can help with relaxing the body's nervous system. I'm sure that's absolutely, valid, and it would help the me character or help the body to relax. But there's no one who can choose to do that. If you're thinking about going to see a therapist to help with trauma of the past, then if that thought arises, who chose that thought? You can't even choose the thought. You can't choose your next thought. So it's just whatever appears to happen. Same with the body. You can't. So over the course of, say, again, this is a story appearing now in this, but let's just pretend that in the next 12 months, you start overeating or indulging, drinking alcohol, and you did that excessively for 3 months. And then you might say, oh, fucking hell, what have I done that for, and I feel shit about myself and I need to change my lifestyle, and I'll start going to the gym more and I'll start running more and eating healthily and quit alcohol. And you do that for 6 months. Then you're feeling fantastic, you look great, feeling good. And then you start eating loads of crap again and putting on weight again. So them cycles of doing and changing ways, you didn't choose any of them. You cannot choose any of them. So that's what I mean. All judgment gets thrown out the window. You look at someone and you think, look at them over there smoking, disgusting habit that. That's just you. That's just that imagined self character putting a condition on something and judging that person. But there's no doer. It's just this appearing as someone smoking. Or it appears you're smoking. You can't choose to smoke or not smoke. But it seems, I mean, here anyway in the story, now, I used to smoke and drink and overindulge. And that doesn't seem to happen here anymore. I don't smoke and I don't drink, and I do eat well and look after myself. But that could change. There's no doer. And there's no judgment of others that do anything like that either. Same with drugs or alcohol. Or people who misbehave. There's no authority or hierarchy. There's no one running this show. It's unconditional love for whatever appears, whatever is. I mean, here, you might have heard the phrase, I think it's been said a lot in non-duality or spirituality, meing and being. So I would say over the last few years, there's been like a swing between meing and being here. And again, that's this appearing as meing or being. And what I mean by that is when you're meing, you're completely identified with that imagined me character. And when you're being, you're just being in what is. You're in the beingness. And again, going back to what I said at the start of the video, what's actually happening versus what you think is happening. So meing is what you think is happening, and being is what is actually happening. And there seemed to be like an ebb and a flow, going in between meing and being for quite a long time, and it was fucking uncomfortable. And it can still happen, but it just seems to be, and again, there's no process to this. This is what I mean. This assumes time. But I can only talk about what's happened here, the experience that seems to have happened here in the story. And this meing and being seems to have been going on for a while, but it becomes thinner and thinner, and it just becomes so undeniable. It just becomes ridiculously obvious that what's actually happening is everything, and there's nothing outside of what appears, and that what you think is happening is an illusion. So nothing is missing. Only you, only the seeker, assumes that something is missing. But this couldn't give a shit what you want. Weird, is it? It is. Do you know? It is. If again, this is. I'm going back to the story, but if someone would have said to me, like even like 3 or 4 years ago, I would have a non-duality YouTube channel. It's like fucking what? There's no doer. There's no one speaking these words. You didn't choose to watch this video. There's no one inside your body. There's no one inside anybody. There's nobody here. There's just this one isness, this one aliveness. And it can appear as anything. But when the seeker falls away, that's when it's game over. That's where the peace is. This is where the peace is. What's actually happening is the peace, the unknown, the not knowing is the peace. Because there is no next. It's impossible. The future is a fantasy. There is no future. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. But thank you so much for watching. And I do appreciate you. Obviously without, again, I don't even know why these videos are happening. As I said, you know, there's no doer. But it seems like the, you know, the channel's resonating with people out there, which is nice, I suppose. Doesn't really mean anything. There's nothing to find. If you're seeking, you'll never find, because there's only ever this. Like if you stopped seeking, if all seeking stopped immediately, right now, this is liberation. Thanks for watching.